What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Forexfunded coming at you with another weekly analysis for this upcoming week, September 29th, 2025. As always, links will be in the description. Instagram chart analysis service so you can stay up to date with all of my analysis, my signals, my education, my chat rooms. As always, there's a free week trial so you can see, if we are worthy of your $100 a month. But yeah, jumping right into it. So actually, we'll backtrack a little bit. Last week, we all know this was Friday, Monday, and Tuesday. Our analysis for last week was based off of the daily close above the midpoint. I said we were going to attack the top end of the $160 range, and then if we're able to break it, we would come to 33.75. We had that weekly target completed in 2 days. Okay, you can check back on the prior analysis to see if I'm lying or not, but that's what we said, right? This week, right? We have a this week, well, the end of last week for the weekly candle close, we had a candle that closed above that 37.35 $160 range point, right? That means we have opened the doors to this new range from 37.35 all the way up to 38.95. Now, it is important to note we do have a monthly candle that's going to close the middle of next week, right? Tuesday is the last day of the month. So it'll be interesting to see what happens, right? Um, I would really like to see the price close above the 37.35 zone, right? If we close back below it, it's not going to be the end of the world, but it does leave price open to playing around in the prior high time frame range, which would be the 35.75 to 37.35. So it would open the doors to playing around in this range, right? But ideally, I'd like us to stay above, that 37.35. So we open the doors, to higher prices. Um, Going down to the daily, we can see what had happened here. So daily, what we really did last week, we expedited our weekly targets. I didn't expect this to happen on a Sunday to Monday, right? A big $61 candle, but it's just what happened, right? If you take a look at what had happened, why and where it bounced from, right? If you have your high and your low, so when we break this high, right, you make a new higher high and you're using your higher low, we tapped 7-8%, right? That's the last zone for price to hold unless they want big pullback. So we bounced off of that. Our targets, in addition to being range points, were fib extensions, inverse fib, whatever you want to call it. We have 27 over here, 61, which tells us that our next extension based off of that fib in itself is 1802 and then 1827, right? Um, Now, looking at what happened this week, from those same lows to our highs, we can see we bounced off of 38. I myself was expecting a little bit lower at 3709. We didn't get it, right? We can also see the very good respect for that range point 3735. Our bodies are closing above it. We're rejecting below it, but that's fine, right? We care more about the close. Now, the week ended off in kind of a tricky spot, I won't lie. We have now 3 rejections of 37.75. And if you come down to like a 30 minutes or 1 hour, you can see that price really got pushed away from there at the end of the day, right? So this is 3 p.m. on Friday, 3:30, uh, 4 and 4:30. So you could tell they were pushing it down for a reason, right? I'm not really sure what that reason is. I am still very bullish, but we must keep that in mind, right? There is a chance, that you can still break these lows and be 100% bullish. For me to say we are even short term bearish, because for me, I'm not trying to trade a pullback. I'd want to trade a break of structure. You need to break these lows at 36.27. But like I said, that means you're able to tap into 50, 61 golden zone, or even 78% again. We have to see what happens, how the week opens and such. But that is something you want to take note of. Now, 4 hour doesn't really have anything major for us to talk about, same as daily. And honestly going to be the same as 1 hour, but we're going to talk about it from here. So me personally, there are three areas you could use for fib, right? You could use the absolute low, the most recent higher low, or you could call these higher lows too, right? At the end of the day, all the fibs are basically going to match up, right? And I'll show you that right here, right now. So if you use the absolute low, this is what things are going to look like. Now, if you use this higher low, you'll see things basically match up, right? You have 23 at the same area, 50 at the same area, blah blah blah. The one that will be the most different is this area, the what's technically the most recent higher low, because the price difference is a lot, right? I mean, for gold, not really a lot. But what I meant by they're going to match up, here's what I mean, right? So let's make the longer term longer. Our longer term 38 matches our shorter term 50. Our longer term 50 matches longer term, shorter term 61. Our longer term 61 matches shorter term 78. So when I say there's not really a wrong place to put a fib, as long as you're using a higher high and a higher low, or as long as you're using a high and a low, you're good, right? I don't. There's some people who we all know of who will, for some reason, put a fib like right here and say that that's valid, and they're just fucking retards, right? But for the sake of things, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use the longer term fib. The reason being for that is it allows for more leeway, right? You just want to keep in mind, like, look, if it confuses you, just make a box from your golden zone, your smaller golden zone, get rid of the smaller fib, and then you're still saying, all right, well, we could tap into 38 and we can also tap 50, right? The reason why I say use the bigger fib is, to me, that's what's going to hit. We're going to, if we're going to pull back more, we're going to use the larger fib, right? I don't need that box. For me, it is the larger golden zone is what I would love to see respected. You can also see that from what I would call here to here is support resistance, right? It right now, it was resistance, right? If you pull it all the way over to the left, resistance, support, support. And as we all know, in trading, everything should be a zone, not a specific price. So we can tap into this area, which we already have seen a little bit of a tap into. If you were to say what's the lowest it theoretic theory theoretically, I don't know how to say that word, should come to, would be, look at where the lowest low was and you still were bullish, right here, which matches up perfectly with 50 fib. So I'd be looking at that bigger fib. It, just from my experience in the market, that's the fib I want to have. But it is something to keep in note that in addition to 38, you do have support resistance, right? You also have 1 hour EMAs, but they're not really the strongest. 4 hour EMAs are the EMAs that are generally very strong, right? For me, in the way I trade. And with that being said, the reason why that matters is because you can see we have 4 hour 21 EMA in the golden zone, right? When I say they're strong, I don't mean you're never going to break them, right? You broke it, you closed below it, but then look what happened immediately after. You had a nice bullish rejection. Same thing here. You broke below, an immediate nice rejection. Not the best, not the most picture perfect as the first one, but it's still a reversal. Here's you rejecting it and just staying sideways, no new lows. Um, but yeah, so I'm going to be looking for price to come and tap into that golden zone and take price up towards 3,800. If you remember, that 3,804, I think it was the fib from the 78 move, right? From this move, 78, 1802 is that area, right? So you have two matching inverse fibs. That's good to see. Fib extensions, whatever they are. At the end of the day, it is also possible that we have something that happened last week, right? This is your open on Sunday. Sunday open created the low of the week and then just shot up, right? If that happens, you're going to have to look for some sort of a smaller time frame fib setup or a possible break and retest. But even here, you didn't really have a break and retest. You kind of had it, but you kind of didn't. So what that means is if you open up and we're just bullish, you're either gonna have to look for a higher risk setup, right, based off of fib or a breakout entry, or you're just gonna have to wait, right? Because once you break here, you'll probably come right around 3,800. You wouldn't want a massive rejection, but then if you did get the retest or some kind of setup that you like, then look to take it higher, look to take it above 38.15. And then for the week, right, two weekly targets for this week for me are going to be 38.15 and 38.55. So look to take it higher. But yeah, I don't see us breaking, even I really don't see us breaking these lows. If I'm going to be 100% honest, we can break them. We can come over here towards this bigger golden zone. I don't think it's going to happen. And I definitely don't see us breaking 36.27, right? But just for the sake of things, I will say there is the possibility that you come here and then you're still just going to look for higher prices. Um, but as always, if you need extra help, if you want to know exactly what I'm doing, when I'm doing it, and what my next steps are in the market, you got to join the Discord, right? As I mentioned, it has a free week trial. So you can join when you watch this video and get a free week out of it. And if I don't make you any pips, if you don't like the way I explain things, if you don't like what's offered, then fucking cancel and you don't owe a dime, right? Last week to end the week, I'm not going to lie, just another little recap. We had a buy we had a breakout buy at 9:19 a.m. So let me just show you guys what that looks like. Right. So we had bought this breakout right here, right? So here was our London highs. So when New York comes in with a big strong candle, it tells you really want to go buy. We bought somewhere in this candle near the top, right? I said 9:19 is when I bought, which means this candle opened at 15 at 19. So it was I'm not going to say a shitty entry, but it did have a lot of pullback. It did almost take us out, but at the end of the day, it doesn't matter if it almost took you out. It matters if it did take you out, right? And then I had said that I daily ATR reached plus 190 pips. Technically, it was a little bit more than 190 because that ATR was like 82, I believe. So somewhere up here, 82. So if I said it was 190, that means our entry was lower. But you got to get the gist of it. That's the entry we took on Friday. I'm not gonna break down all the other entries. I'm just gonna break down that one because fucking why not, right? But that's as simple as it was. We broke the London highs with a big fat bullish candle. You also broke all these other lower highs. So price wants to go bullish. You're gonna take it with a stop below. For me, it was below the impulse candle. But it's stuff like that is what you can expect in the Discord, right? You're gonna get all my entries. Any entry I take, I'm sending all my updated analysis. I send. You can ask me questions. You can fucking send whatever you want on the chat as long as it's not hate. We don't care. But hope you guys all had a wonderful weekend, and we'll see you guys soon, hopefully.